far. My name is Jerry Brown. I am from Mariano Lake. Um, I started painting when I was 3 years old. My paternal grandparent gave me a coloring book. I never stayed on the line. I made it blue, red, yellow, or black. And she would say, "Oh, that's beautiful." So up to this day, I still do that. So I, I do non-objective abstract. I got my art degree at Institute of American Indian Arts and in the 90s. And so every shows that I go, and it's like a reunion. So it's good to see my colleagues that are doing pretty well in their own way of creativity. So I do my own. So in the Southwest, I do a lot of Southwest animals, which are giraffes, rhino, cheetah. It's a joke of mine. and it became reality when I went to Los Angeles to the tar pit. And they were digging out mammoth, saber-tooth. So they are Southwest animals. So yeah. I have my paintbrush here, and I have my oil pastels. So I'm gonna do overlapping. Well, that's how I start. So I do a lot of gestures. There's a lot of approach to it, and endless mediums out there. So I do have my box here and here. So let's start. So I usually close my eyes, but for now, this is gesture. This is overlapping. So I always tell if I'm doing a demonstration for the elementaries. So I approached it, it's white, so it's negative now and turn into positive. So that's how it goes. The kids always say, "Oh, Mr. Brown, what do I need to draw? Tell me what to draw." So I was like, yeah, so it's sort of like free. So there's no control, you just turn it loose. So back to the coloring book. So my coloring book looked like that, but darker. So you can see there's a lot of patterns overlapping. So what I usually do is pick one. And I pick, let's see, we use black, Mars black. Squeeze it out of the tube. That's how you approach it. So I'm just gonna find a pattern and then go with that. So, and then back to working with kids, I always tell them, if you put a mark on anything, you are already communicating with the outside world. And I always tell them too that if you make a line, you're communicating. So and then let's pick another pattern, maybe down below. So make sure your eyes is wandering. So this, if it's going to be here in the middle or up, I'm going to pick this up here. Pick the little pattern. I just watched Bob Ross this morning on TV. It's always a joy that, how he comes up with his own. I did not know that he was a drill sergeant at one time. So he used to yell at people getting up and do their own things. And he decided not to do that anymore. So with the soft voice, he was communicating. So I came up with mine. So again, make sure they're balanced. So pick another one. So in the end, it's a process. So we did a lot of drawings with students elementary, preschools and all that stuff, and I always tell them there's no mistakes. It's a process. So I tell them not to erase what they have done, because in the end it's going to be overlapped or covered up, or maybe the piece will be muddy, but let it dry and give it another layer. So again, make sure your eyes is wandering. So pick another pattern and just keep going. So I think having to do cylinders, triangles, rectangles, sphere plays a role, big, huge role in all the art world. So if you enlarge that and you put more to it, and it becomes amazing pieces out of it. So for mine, again, from Mariano Lake, so I mean, it's a beautiful place. But once the reality checks in, I'm surrounded by a lot of great people, and also we have the regular daily struggles, which is the fire water. So this is modeling paste. So I usually throw that in there. So you can see the transparency going on here. So may let that dry. So, back to my people. So I'm surrounded by alcoholism. So, and it's either, it's easy to join them, but I choose not to. But, that's just how it goes, where I'm from. But again, I turn everything to positive. So heavily used next door, but that's just what it is. So some of these, my backgrounds are based on those, the textures, the layers of what I'm dealing with. My mom, when I came back from art school, my mom took 3 years to understand my work, because she thought I was gonna be painting people on a horse. I mean, we're known for like herding sheep and all that kind of stuff, but I decided not to do those, because I was told at an art school, when you come through the threshold, leave your baggage by the door, So I took that in, and they told me, so you are going to learn all of this. And I'm doing that today. I've had art shows throughout the world, and it's a hoot. It's a hoot. Because my first year at Idle George, again, surrounded by great artists. They do their own thing, I do mine. So it was an experience for me at Idle George. That was 13 years ago. It rained through our art show, so I had a stream through my booth, so it was awesome. Again, so I have a lot of colleagues. They joke with me. I say, Mr. Brown is making a big mess in the corner. Pretty awesome though. So my mom took 3 years to understand my work. So in the end, she said, "Oh, I know what you're doing now." Because I was brought up with the stories. This is how you do stuff. This is how you participate or how you act in ceremonies and laughters. It's that void between yourself, laughter, and stories. That void between that, that's what I paint. I love to push boundaries. Again, surrounded by great artists. Recently I did a show at the University of New Mexico in Gallup, and one of the people in the audience asked me, "What's your next project, Mr. Brown, after this?" And I told them, 2023, there's going to be March. So I'm getting ready for that. And what's the March about? And I said, public gesture. Again, my community, my elected public officials decided to close down all, or in my valley, the gas stations, and sell alcohol to the people for profit. So I decided to do a march against that. So what I'm gonna do is ask my community from pending or the one that are deceased from alcohol, that, throw in a jar of glass. Well, there's going to be a float following me, so then toss it in either a broken one or a whole bottle or a crushed can. And so that's what I'm going to do 2023 in March. That is my next project. I think being activist and being an artist goes hand in hand. "18 or 19 years ago, I tossed in a piece in my community. I grew up there. I grew up in the surroundings. And so I tossed in a piece. We lived in Minneapolis before and then came back to the reservation. I didn't know that time, so. And traders of Gallup, Indian capital of the world, these are the millionaires, So, and I didn't know that Gallup ceremonial is run by those. I shot myself in the foot that first year. Well, they put my piece in a dark area. Well, their pieces were lit. And so why is that? So I made a voice about it, and they didn't like me. I liked them. I still like them. They don't like me, but every year I show up with my own piece. I'm a Navajo, I'm a native, paint non-adjective, abstract. They still don't know what to do with me. It's fun to be around them. I mean, these are the people, they're, millionaires. It's okay. I have my own voice, so maybe that same people are running the liquor, These are my people that I've lost. I've lost a lot of people. My grandma froze to death right in front of the store. I mean, this is what we faced. I faced. Still have a voice in the middle of it. Hopefully, shine a light on one of the darkness in our struggles. So now it's beginning to add one layer. So I will stop in daily life. So I will let it dry and then go over it with another layer. Now that I've picked a lot of patterns, so you can still see the first layer of the oil pastel. So we'll add another layer. So let's see, my oil pastels here. Again, we'll let that dry. Now we add modeling paste to this. With a pellet knife here. So I'll add modeling paste. It sort of looks like a drywall mud, but it's not. This has the integrity and the longevity with holding objects. So the drywall is softer. You can carve in, but this dries hard. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about this. So we can start adding man-made paper to this too. So with matte medium and high gloss medium, so that will be the glue to our piece here. So, but I'm going to use paper towel. Throw it in there. I did this 2014 at the show at my first show at Annual Market. I was waitlisted for 10 years. So finally got in. It's like, so excited. Could not sit straight in or sit right in my booth. So matte medium, that's what it is. So we're gonna make some layers out of this. So there you go. Start to cover that up. Okay, let that process dry. And then use modeling paste here to do some more texture work on these. So if this dries, if you try to pull it off, it won't. So in the 1941 and 42, my grandparents did sand painting at Gallup train stations. So they performed ceremonies with Harvey girls and traveled to Chicago and New York and perform. I have a black and white photo of my grandpa doing that. So I decided to flip that photo. And that photo is this. Because I chose to do what in the back of that photo is all white. Figure out how I'm going to support myself. It's easy to win ribbons. I'm in Navajo. I don't want to paint my medicine bundles. I don't want to paint my chest belt. I don't want to paint my weaving designs. So I made a commitment. I'm not going to sell my culture. And I have a lot of people sat with me and hated me for that. Again, it goes back to that place. Oh, Mr. Brown is making a big mess in that corner. Nope, it's not. I think in a certain my voltage meter, I'm preserving my culture. So it's a process. So now that's where we're at. So we'll let that dry a little bit and then put another layer on it. So let's use paper. Used a paper towel, now it's man-made paper. Okay, let's get a strip of paper in there. Some pieces that I've used hinges, doorknobs, and they're pretty good pieces because when a kid runs up to my pieces, they can mess around with the hinges, turn the doorknob, It's just awesome to see that. So there's paper embedded in them, some of my pieces. I let that live in there, or even throw my whole paintbrush in there so they can live in there. Maybe use red. and go over it with, let's see if I have the other medium right here. Gloss. Nope, it's not. Right here, gloss. Oh, it's not open. Okay. If it dries, this will be clear. Now it's cloudy, but when it dries, it'll be clear and glossy. Well, let's put another layer in there. So I think it's dry there to where we can do another layer. I have pieces that turn into mud, like, brown or, gray. Let it sit for a day or two or a year and then go back and put another layer on it. And that is the best part about it. So let's put yellow in here now. Let's see what will happen if you put yellow on there. So that's starting to change. So that's. I paint anywhere. I have a colleague, Maureen Begay. He's now a professor at the Sooner, the Oklahoma University. So he's a printmaker professor. So when we were roommates at the Art Institute of American Indian Arts, we used to shut off all the light, and everything, like in the middle of the night, and just draw in the dark. So we got to experience a lot of those. So yes, I can just paint anywhere. So yeah, just find a little spot and huddle with it, or surrounded by people, in the midst of people, just go at it. So that's, I love doing this. So especially in the midst of a lot of people, I like to create something special for the people. Non-objective, abstract. So, yep. I think American Meredith came up with that name. You did. I was trying to, for years, I was like, what can I call this? And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, there you go. I was like, yes, I'm going to run with it. So, having to draw in a back of a pickup truck on a dirt road, that is awesome too. Yeah, it just hold the whatever just let the bumps hit it, and just at the end of the ride, see what comes up. That is awesome too. So let's put in, let's see if I can find black here. If not, I'll use, let's see, put a darker color in. Start pulling them out. Let's see what it is. They asked me to paint at the train station while nightly dances are being performed by the Zuni dancers. That was a good experience for me too, hearing the drum and the dances and the footsteps. Oh, I have two pieces in my booth that is just amazing. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are layers, like I said, I wanted to sign it, but I have to keep going. And it's endless. Yeah. Let's say 7 or 8 layers. That's where I wanted to stop. So we're on our second layer right here. So You can control that, so yes. But I like 7 or 8 layers, so. It's a process.
It seems like with purely abstract works that there's not a lot of depth, so I'm always impressed that you really create this kind of inward, outward, only with colors.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And the experience, yeah, it's that void you have to, I'm born with it, so whatever that's built in me, I just pull it out. So I think that's what it is. So, yeah, and finding a name that's just awesome too. Yes, yeah, yeah, and it's, yep. So. I have bigger work, so it's endless. I have a 4 by 8 feet, and then once you pass that, it's a mural. So, yeah, so it's endless. Like I said, I painted on the in the back. Well, in art school, I didn't have a lot, so I painted on the back of the the rugs that people throw out. So drag it back to my studio and. Yeah, I learned how to deal with texture because that has texture, like what do you call those, burlap type of weaving back there. If you put more gesso on it, you can close them up, and then you have you have a good, nice background. So yeah, texture. So boxes, glass, yeah. So and then with plexiglass, you can peel them back up and then add a clear medium first layer and paint one, then do another one. If you flip it, you can see the layers of it. So you tend to look at certain areas and kind of just study in your own. I do that on my own, so yes. So it's awesome. So let's do the orange right here. And just leave it. Again, so it has to jump. Your eyes should travel through the piece, or it would be center, off to the center, like the main. Like if you go out there and look at a piece, it could be that, and it starts to tell its own story, or in the middle, and mine is all over the place. So I do that, make sure it's balanced. Yeah, yeah. So the pink shows the red, balance. So make sure there's a blue there. Maybe the colors are saying, I want to be in this piece too. I want to be here. So. The Art Institute of Chicago. My wife and I went up, and we went through all the levels, and I got overwhelmed by the medieval era, and it's wild because a lot of pieces were frame and non-frame, and I looked at a big piece I was like, I'm so, drawn to the make sure it's square, man. I look, I mean, you could put your whole leg in there. Like, it's like away from, it's like, I don't need to frame my pieces, so that's where I'm at. So, yeah, it's just surprising how, you know, pieces are out there. You're supposed to be doing this. No, just, let it go. Have fun. What turquoise? There's, there you go. I have a couple that showed up at my house in Mariano Lake, and they want me to put in the slow travel adventures. I think New Mexico University and Santa Fe want to put out a brochure or a book about that. So I said, you should be in it. So look for me in there. So if you to learn how to throw some paint around in Mariano Lake, so you're welcome to come and paint with me. Slow travel adventures. Let's do the yellow and orange. Oh, it's too wet still, but we'll make it work. There. I think I'm gonna stop right now because I really like this piece. So let it dry and then put my name on it. So I liked gaining in my booth too, so it's a win-win to every art show. So I get to shine and create a piece at that moment and live to talk about it. So down the road. So with the noise and the colors outside and the people that I meet, and good to see my colleagues, I think that's the color. And I always think, what color is justice? What color is, what color is balance? I mean, those are the stuff that I question myself. And so what color is, So I think justice is pink. Balance will be green. So yeah.